ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि। विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। कैवल्योपनिषत् मंत्र 22, in some books 20 or 21। मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं याति तद्ब्रह्माद्वयमस्म्यहम्। As we saw in the last session, the Mahavakya can be of two types: Upadesha Vakya and Anubhava Vakya. Tattvamasi is Upadesha Vakya because the Guru is addressing the Shishya and says, "You are Brahman." On the other hand, Aham Brahmasmi is Anubhava Vakya. The Shishya conveys his understanding. The Anubhava Vakya can be used for contemplation, for nididhyasana. In this Upanishad, there are many Anubhava Vakyas, starting from 21, Trishu Dhamasu Yad Bhogyam onwards, up to 26, Na Punya Pape Mama Nasti Nasho. It is Anubhava Vakya. And these are beautiful verses. They can be memorized and used during meditation. In this verse, Tad Brahma Dvayamasmyaham, it is also in the form of Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma Advayam Asmi Aham. Aham, I. Brahma Asmi. I am Brahman. What is Brahman? Advayam. Without a second. The Shruti doesn't say one Brahman. It is not monotheism. One God. If there is one God, there are so many other things which are not God also. That is monotheism. God as well as other things. It is not Vedanta. Brahman is without a second. Advayam. That is why it is called Advaita. There is no second reality. There is no second. The second can be either outside or inside. Outside me there is second. In front of me there is a computer. Me and my computer. There are two things. Dvaita. And inside me there is second. My parts, my hand, my legs, my entrails, my organs, all inside my body. Inside my body there is second, and outside my body there is second. When it comes to Brahman, there is no second whatsoever, whether inside or outside. Outside Brahman there is no second, and inside Brahman there is no second. Because Brahman doesn't have parts. Brahman is Niravayavaha, Niramshaha. Therefore, even inside Brahman, there is no second. Therefore, Advayam, without a second. Then naturally we get a question. What about the universe? If there is no second, then what about the universe? The universe is evident to us. We see the universe. Then how can you say there is no second? Then The Vedanti says the universe belongs to a lesser reality. The universe is a lesser reality compared to Brahman. Therefore, you cannot count universe as a second with reference to Brahman. For example, Devadatta has one son. In dream, Devadatta dreamt that he got another son, second son. Now, how many sons Devadatta has? One son plus one son in the dream. Two sons. It is not possible. You cannot count the dream son as a second son with reference to the first son. Similarly, the universe is a lesser reality. Brahman is the absolute reality. Therefore, you cannot count the universe as a second. The lesser reality is called mithya. And the absolute reality is called Satyam. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. To convey this point, the Vedanta analyzes the relation between Brahman and the universe, Brahman and Jagat. What is the relation between Brahman and Jagat? The Upanishad says Brahman is Jagat Karanam. Brahman is the cause of the universe. Jagat Karanam. Therefore, the relation between Brahman and Jagat is called Karya Karana Bhavaha, cause-effect relationship. Karya Karana Bhavaha. This Karya Karana Bhava should be understood properly. The Karana is responsible for the origin of the effect. The Karya, effect, originates from the Karana. For example, pot and clay. The pot originates from clay. Pot arises from clay. Therefore, the srishti of the pot happens from clay. Srishti or Janma means origin. It doesn't end there. After the pot comes into being, you cannot take away the clay. Because if you remove the clay, the pot will also go. Therefore, to sustain the pot, you need clay. The clay sustains the pot. This is another role of the Karana. It is like present day parents. The parenting doesn't end with giving birth. Even after giving birth, you have to take care of the child up to the age of 40 or 50. Until the person becomes financially independent and emotionally independent. So, the Karana sustains the Karya. Sthiti, sustenance, also happens by the Karana, the cause. Then Laya, when the effect resolves, it will resolve into the cause. When the pot breaks, the pot resolves into the clay. Because what remains is just clay. Whereas the pot gone, the pot has resolved into the clay. Likewise, the Brahman is responsible for Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. Origin, sustenance and resolution of the universe. The universe arises from Brahman. The universe is sustained by Brahman, and the universe resolves into Brahman. Therefore, the Upanishad describes Brahman as Yatova imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, from which everything comes into being, on which everything is sustained, and into which everything goes back. Everything resolves. It is Brahman. That is Karya Karana Bhava. The relation between the universe, and Brahman. Now, in Vedanta, we analyze the nature of this Karya Karana Bhava. The phenomena of the origin of the effect from the cause is discussed. We have four contentions, four views in the philosophy. The first one is called Arambhavada. Second one is called Sanghatavada. Third one, Parinamavada. And fourth, Vivartavada. Arambhavada, Sanghatavada, Parinamavada, and Vivartavada. These are four theories to explain the cause-effect relationship. Four theories. To explain something, we have theories. For example, to explain the universe, the solar system, we have theories. Geocentric theory, heliocentric theory, and a particular theory is called a Vada. Similarly, to explain something in Vedanta, in the philosophy, we have theories. And each theory is called a Vada. Each model. Arambhavada is put forward by certain philosophers called Vaisheshikas. The Vaisheshika philosophers expound the theory of Arambhavada. According to Arambhavada, the effect does not exist before its creation. For example, the pot does not exist before it is produced. What was there? There was nothing. There was no pot, absolutely. Then out of clay, the pot is produced. Then the pot comes into being. That means a non-existent thing comes into existence. This is Arambhavada. But this argument has a problem. If an absolutely non-existing thing comes into existence, then anything can come out of nothing. If I just chant a mantra, a pot should appear. I don't need to go for clay to produce a pot. Because anyway, the pot comes out of nothing. The non-existent pot comes out of nothing. Therefore, Arambhavada is logically not correct. I am oversimplifying. If you look into the source books, there is a lot of discussion about Arambhavada. Therefore, the universe cannot come out of nothing. You cannot say a non-existent universe, a previously non-existent universe came into being. You cannot say. Then there is another argument, Sanghatavada. It is the argument of Buddhists, Bauddhas. According to them, there is nothing called pot other than a collection of molecules. Pot is nothing but a collection of molecules. And they deny the origin of a new thing called pot. So everything comes into being because of the collection of its components. In other words, there is no avayavi other than the avayava. There is no whole other than the parts. This sounds a little correct, but we say this does not hold good when it comes to the universe, because the universe came from Brahman. Brahman doesn't have avayavas. Brahman doesn't have parts. Therefore, the universe cannot be a collection of parts of Brahman. Therefore, Sanghatavada also gets dismissed. Again, I am oversimplifying. So, exact contention of Sanghatavada, we have to look into the source books and find. Yeah. Then the third argument, Parinamavada. Sankhya. Sankhya is a philosophy. According to Sankhya philosophy, the universe is a parinama. The universe is a modification. The cause modifies and produces the effect. Just like milk turns into curd. It is a parinama. A modification. Similarly, Brahman becomes universe. Brahman modifies and becomes universe. This is another contention. But Brahman does not have any modification, because to undergo modification, Brahman should have parts. Brahman doesn't have parts, and Brahman is free from all modifications. Then how can Brahman modify into the universe? Therefore, Parinamavada also gets dismissed. Then how does the universe come into being? We have a fourth theory, Vivartavada. The universe is Vivarta. Vivarta means one thing appears to be another without undergoing a real change. One appears to be another without a real modification. For example, rope appears to be snake without changing. The rope does not change into snake. The rope remains rope, but it appears to be snake. And to some extent, it does the work of a snake also. How? It causes fear, and sometimes it can cause death also out of fear. Likewise, the universe is Brahma Vivartaha. Jagat Brahma Vivartaha. The universe is Vivarta of Brahman. That means Brahman does not undergo any change, but appears to be the universe, appears to be the Jagat. Just like the rope appears to be the snake. An apparent modification. The Jagat is Brahma Vivarta. And the Vivarta is Mithya. Vivarta is never Satya. Therefore, the universe is also Mithya. It belongs to a lesser order of reality compared to Brahman. Therefore, the universe cannot be counted as a second reality, as a parallel reality. Therefore, Brahman is Advayam. Advayam Brahma. Who is the Advayam Brahma? You. I. We are discussing Anubhava Vakya. Therefore, Aham Advayam Brahma. See the verse. Mayyeva Sakalam Jatam. Sakalam. Everything. Mayi Eva Jatam. Everything is born in me. The Srishti happens in me. In fact, the Upanishad doesn't say from me also. If you look into another Upanishad, it says from Brahman. But here, the Upanishad changes the word. In me, everything is born. The wave arises in the ocean. The universe never gets separated. The universe does not come outside me. It is in me. Dakshinamurti Stotram says, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam. The whole universe is like a city visible in a mirror. Likewise, the whole universe is in me. It is not outside me. Mayi eva, in me, sakalam jatam, everything is born. Mayi sarvam pratishtitam, everything is supported in me. Sthiti. And Mayi sarvam layam yati, everything resolves into me. Laya. Tad brahma dvayamasmyaham. Tat advayam brahma aham asmi. I am the Advayam Brahma. Anoraniyanahamiva tadvat mahanaham vishwamidam vichitram puratanoham purushohamishaha hiranmayoham shivarupamasmi. Aham anoho aniyan. I am subtler than the subtle. Anu means subtle. Sukshma. Not visible to our eyes. Not available to our senses. The Atma is Aniyan. Anoho Aniyan. Subtler than the subtle. Subtlest. Very subtle. Why subtle? Nirgunatvat. Because Brahman is nirguna, no attributes, therefore subtle. Anoraniyan aham eva. I am subtlest of everything. Mahan aham. Aham mahan. Mahan means big, great. How much great? Infinite. Not a relative greatness. Someone may be relatively great, but Brahman is infinite. Not great in relation to someone. Infinite. Aham vishwamidam vichitram. This whole universe. Idam vishwam. Idam sarvam. All these. This whole universe. Vichitram. With all its varieties, with all its diversities, aham is me. I am the substance of the whole universe. Therefore, nothing is away from me. Nothing excludes me. I am everything. This statement negates Vastu Paricheda. In Vedanta, we talk about Vastu Paricheda. Limitation in terms of an object. An object is limited being a given object. The table is limited being a table because the table is not the computer. The table is not the chair. The table is not the house. The table excludes everything other than the table. And everything other than the table exclude the table. This is a limitation. Vastu Paricheda. Perhaps the table will feel, I am just a table. If I were the computer, it would have been so good. Because the computer is on the table. The table is unnecessarily bearing the burden of the computer. All the burden is on the table. But the computer is so well treated. The computer is taken care of well. Softly it is lifted and kept. Softly opened and closed. But the table is treated very badly. Sometimes I hit on the table and I place burden on the table. The table feels so bad. I am just a table. If I were like the computer, it would have been better. The table keeps complaining. I am just a table, just a table. It is samsara. The complaint is samsara. Therefore, vastu paricheda is the cause of samsara. When we identify with a given name and form, with the exclusion of other names and forms, there is vastu paricheda. Then there is samsara. I am just this. I am not that. I am not like him. I am not like her. We keep complaining. It is happening only to me. It doesn't happen to anyone else. Only my leg is paining. Only my head is aching. Samsara. The Brahman does not exclude anything. Being the substance of everything, being the very existence of everything, Brahman is everything. Vishwamidam vichitram. Brahman pervades all the diversities. Therefore, free from vastu paricheda. And who is the Brahman? You. This is what we have to keep remembering. As long as Brahman is a third person, there is no use of studying Vedanta. Vedanta is useful when we understand the Brahman is the first person. Aham Brahmas. Aham idam vishwam. I am everything. Therefore, I am free from vastu paricheda. Puratanoham. Aham puratanaha. Ancient, implying free from kala paricheda, free from time-wise limitation. Anything changing, anything subject to change is subject to limitation in time. Brahman never changes. Therefore, free from limitation in time. So, Puratana means Nitya. Mahan, the word Mahan can be understood as free from Desha Paricheda. Vishwamidam Vichitram can be understood as free from Vastu Paricheda, and Puratanoham free from Kala Paricheda. Purushaha. Sorry, Puratanoham, yeah, Kala Paricheda. Purushaha. The word Purusha can be understood in two ways. Number one, Puri Shete iti Purushaha. Resides in the city. Pura means a city. Puri Shete resides in the city. A city dweller. What is the city? The body is the city. The body is compared to city in some Shastras. Because just like any regular city, even the body has so many components, and all these components are working in harmony. There is traffic in the city, in the body. Even in our body there is traffic. Just like in Bangalore city we have traffic. In the body also there is traffic. There is blood circulation, and sometimes there is traffic jam also in the body. That is when bleeding happens. What's it called? Hemorrhage and diseases. So the body also is compared to a city. And if the body is a city, who governs this city? The Atma governs the city. In the presence of Atma, the body city functions in harmony. That is why the Atma is called Purushaha. Puri Shete iti Purushaha. This is one meaning of Purushaha. Another meaning, Purnatvat Purushaha. The Atma is complete. Therefore, Purushaha. Purnatvat Purushaha. Aham Purushaha. I am complete. Purnaha ityartha. Aham Ishaha. I am Isha. Means Swatantraha. I am independent. I do not have to depend on external agents for my happiness. Therefore, Ishaha. There is no helplessness. Brahman is free from all helplessness. When do we become helpless? When we think there is a need for support. When we think there is a need for some external condition to be fulfilled for us to be happy, then we become helpless. my daughter-in-law has to behave in a particular way, then I will be happy. But unfortunately, my daughter-in-law doesn't behave the way I want her to behave. Then I feel helplessness. I expect an external condition to be fulfilled for myself to be happy. But it doesn't happen because my daughter-in-law is not under my control. She has her own buddhi. Sometimes it works properly, sometimes it doesn't work properly. It is not under my control. Therefore, as long as I depend on her behavior for my happiness, I am not going to be happy. I will continue feeling helplessness. Then what is the way to be happy? The only way is stop expecting my daughter-in-law to behave in a particular way. Irrespective of my daughter-in-law's behavior, I am happy. Then I am Ishaha. The daughter-in-law can be anything. It is not necessarily daughter-in-law. I took daughter-in-law as an example. Any external object, any external factor. It may be my own leg. Sometimes my own leg doesn't behave the way I want. Sometimes my own mind doesn't behave the way I want. Anything. Even my mind can take me for a ride. I want it to be quiet, but it is going here and there. Even then, I should be happy. So, Ishaha, Hiranmayaha literally means golden. Implies very precious, most precious, most valuable. Gold is most valuable in the world. Gold value is considered very precious. That is why many people buy gold. Gold, gold, gold. But even the gold is valuable when you are there. If I am not going to live, the gold is of no value for me. Even tons of gold is of no value for me if I am going to die next moment. Then what is more valuable than the gold? It is you. And what is you? Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is most valuable. Hiranmayoham. And once you found Brahman, you don't go after any valuable. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Samaloshtasmakanchanaha. A jnani is described Samaloshtasmakanchana. For a jnani, clay, stone, gold, all are equal. That means even the valuable objects lose their value in front of Brahman. Hiranmayoham Shivarupamasmi. I am Shivarupaha. Aham Shivarupaha. Shivaha means Mangala, auspicious, free from sorrow, free from samsara. Aham Shivarupaha. Aham Shivaha. Iti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi.